This is Gary Atencio with CNTV, and today we're in Virginia. I am here with One World in Freedom. Since 2008, this strong professional leader has helped you reach your business goals and helping you to achieve success. I'm joined here with the executive, MBA, and entrepreneur. Gitta, thanks so much for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to start off a little bit about yourself. And you've built really an 18 plus year solid reputation as a trusted business professional. And you decided to step it up to offer remarkable skills, basically, as an independent program and project management service provider. So let's start off, first of all, share with us how this passion began for you in helping others.
That goes back to my childhood. I basically, it's part of my personality. I like to help people. I like connecting with people. I am a people person. Um, but then somehow technology attaches to me like a magnet. So what I decided is why not combine both? And with little did I know that the technology would advance so much that a lot of people converse primarily through technology, actually. So, and this is also how I chose my career path. I was deliberate in regards to what type of companies I would support, because I always wanted to make a quiet but great impact. So, and this is also why I started off in telecommunications, because telecommunications is all about communication. And what I learned through that is it's a very technical, there's a very technical logic, but it also applies to people. It's not about just sending the information, the receiver needs to get it too. And that does literally apply to us human beings in regards to relationships. So, so then I went from telecommunications into under other industries because technology you can apply to any industry nowadays. And what I noticed though is technical things, technical issues, we can resolve them somehow and find workarounds. But really, the more complex things are the human interactions. And the interactions are not only complex in uh, private conversations, but also especially in business. In both the personal and the business life, uh, it's the interpersonal relationships that make or break things. And my leadership, when I started off, and they actually asked me, why don't you become a leader? Initially, the top I ever thought about was basically becoming a business analyst. And that was like my top that I ever thought of. But then through leadership guidance, I got into systems engineering, QA, DBA, the project program and portfolio management. And then now recently also into agile and becoming a team coach, an enterprise coach, basically the whole thing. Yeah.
I mean, this is really people meets technology. This is high touch meets high tech. I mean, One World in Freedom aims to bring freedom, success, and wealth really to clients. Could you elaborate maybe on what each of these terms means in the context of your program and your services?
Yes. So freedom in the sense of freedom of creativity, because that's so important nowadays. We are not anymore living only in a competitive culture. We have transitioned into a hyper competition, which means new ideas, people can catch up with on them very fast. So the new ideas may be short lived, and you always have to be on your toes. And because of that, you need to have creative people. People have the freedom to come up with new ideas, and but who also understand the company mission and vision, and not only that, but also the customer. So, um, th- um, the other part that I'm focused on is what is called the tri values, basically be customer focused, company focused, and also employee focused. And when we focus on it all together instead of just the ROI, the traditional way we think about
Yeah.
ROI, then this gives us a stronghold to be able to accelerate faster, because when you have less turnaround, then the trust is built. And when we trust that every individual has something unique to contribute to, this is how beautiful outcomes come into play. And this is then how we don't just survive as a company, but we also soar as a company.
So not only on the creative side for the people that are producing what's needed, but the employees as well. Really not a traditional approach at all. I mean, your expertise is highlighted in program and project management. What are some of the most common challenges that you observe businesses facing in these areas today?
So it comes down to the company culture. What I noticed is um, when the employees don't feel safe, don't feel the psychological safety to communicate that certain ideas are unrealistic or certain expectations are unrealistic, this is where then burnout happens. And this can completely divert the quality of a project or program itself, because it's kind of like I visualize it like a cancer cell in the human bodies, just like biology, right? It just takes one cancer cell that multiplies itself to create illness in the human body. And this is similar way, metaphorically speaking, within the company culture. So um, this is one of the across companies. What I've seen is um, the people orientation, the employee orientation. It's difficult. It's complex, and the complexity comes into personal achievements that individuals want. Some individuals want to go ahead. Some individuals have a completely different personality than others. It's already difficult just between two people for a lifelong time to manage, because you have to compromise, you have to see the other person's perspective. Now imagine that amongst, for example, 10,000 or 15,000 people.
Very complex. I mean, it's one thing for two people in a relationship to feel safe, to feel they're being heard and seen, but you're talking about thousands of people in an organization having that same feeling of safety so that they can produce the best work and obviously be part of a culture that embraces that type of outlook. I mean, as a quadrilingual professional speaking English, Farsi, French, and even German, how do your language skills enhance your ability to serve a diverse clientele and really navigate complex international projects?
So I personally, I'm born half German, half Iranian. So I was raised with two very different cultures. The one is very like black and white, down to the point. The other one is like what we like to call like talking through the flower. So kind of indirectly, it's more like the warm countries, the way they communicate is kind of indirect. You just give a hint and you're supposed to be understanding. So so that in itself, because had to grow up with it, it helped me to connect with people from different countries. How it helped me in companies is, well, in the United States, because I consider United States kind of like a melting pot from different people from different cultures and backgrounds and countries visiting and living in the US. So everyone comes with their own background. Um, Even when you go to Boston, like a Bostoner is completely different than someone from Florida. Just the whole culture, the mentality, the way of living is just so different. And what it helped it for me personally was because I worked also in international companies. Um, like I could relate, for example, to French people, and just saying a few words in French, even though the official language was English, it would help build the rapport. Or like, for example, I worked in a German company, and then just saying a few words in German just to connect with an actual German person, it automatically built the rapport right there because I felt like it just makes you feel like, okay, there's someone who's actually putting the effort to speak my language. And so the connection is right there. So that's how the languages have helped me. And also, language has helped me to understand better the soft skills. It didn't come, of course, it didn't come overnight to me. I am a continuous learner and I have maybe overstepped a few times, not on purpose, but that's part of the learning. And because I'm a continuous learner, I love learning. It's easy for me to apologize and sincerely apologize and just to understand, okay, in this particular scenario, maybe I should have expressed myself different because what I meant to say has a completely different meaning in that particular culture.
I think because of your background, you provide something very unique that you bring to the table. I mean, you are able to speak straight directly or indirectly. Those things definitely serve you when you're dealing with such a diverse group of people. I mean, you emphasize trust and professional leadership. How do you build and maintain trust with clients, especially when you're guiding them through significant changes or even challenging projects? Explain that.
The way I do that is I put myself into the other person's shoes. I try to understand the person, the background of the person, where the person is coming from, um, what the person's um, job function is in the company, what that person actually needs to achieve, and I try to understand any concerns that the person may have. So I come in as a humble person, not as someone here, I have the solution for everything. And when I introduce new concepts, I I'm methodical about that. And I also explain the why behind it. So I give like bite-sized information, but I'll also explain the why along with it. And I pause and make room for questions to ask or for any concerns they may have. Because when I come into a new company, I don't know what is going behind the scenes. They know. So I need to be that information, what their concern is, I would need to be pulled in. I would need to be considered as like part of the inner circle so that the time I spend is effective and efficient towards the main objective we're trying to achieve together.
Absolutely. I mean, you're basically bringing an outside perspective, but you need to be on the inside circle, understand what's happening to truly help them. I mean, would you say there's a core philosophy or a set of principles that guide your work at One World in Freedom? And how do these translate into tangible benefits for your clients?
Okay. So to me, integrity is very high. Um, and being able to see the perspectives of other people, basically what I like to call, have a particular term for that, 360-degree thinking. That's what I call it. Gauge and to see all the different aspects that come into play when you want to shift something within the organization. For example, shift or like adjust the way of working, for example, or adjust certain processes to make them more efficient, or come up with new technology, introduce new technology. That's important. And also to understand the mission and vision where the company is actually heading, because you can have many ideas, but if they're not aligned with the company's mission and vision, then it's not going to be helpful. And you also need to be understanding from financial perspective if there are any budget issues, because that also drives what options would be there for the company to be successful. Um, I also see it important to be, as an outsider, this is what I always like to be, not obviously to be more objective, and but to relay the message in a kind way, whatever the message is, and basically say, okay, if we go this in this direction, these are the possible risks that you may need to be aware of. And what I also bring to the table is I have seen something similar in a different company, and this is how they've approached it. And these were the failures or successes.
I mean, speaking of direction, I mean, you provide a comprehensive approach to client support. What does this comprehensive support entail, particularly for businesses that might be struggling to find some clarity or maybe even direction?
Business perspective, to have a good business acumen. What is actually happening out there in the world? Even in the traditional way, if we look, for example, at Microsoft, we know Microsoft primarily for the computer, but Microsoft has meanwhile gotten into has diversified basically and gotten into other areas, not just developing a computer and selling it and coming up with a newer version or newer like Windows or something like that. So that is one of the aspects. The other thing is to clearly understand, because the mission and vision, they're really there like the drivers, but also understand, is this what we want to provide still needed in our era, right? Because we need to be aware of, have a radar around, to see, to scan the map, so to say, to see what else, who are our competitors, and what else can we offer in regards to diversifying. Then, of course, you would also need to have a roadmap and also objectives and key results. So these are kind of like the high level from C-level perspectives, because usually C-levels, they give the direction and the vision. Um, this is what you need as a minimum to be able to, I would like to say, to steer the ship into the
Absolutely.
direction you actually want to.
Definitely steer the ship in the right direction. Obviously, I mean, that's a great example with Microsoft. Companies are always evolving. They're always evolving, making sure they're diversifying in areas that still pertain to their original mission and goal, which I think is very important. I mean, for a new client out there, maybe considering your services, what would be the initial steps that you take to understand their needs and begin formulating a tailored strategy for them? Does it all begin with a consultation? And what takes place there a little bit?
Yes, so it would it's initially, as you mentioned, it would initially start off with an interview to understand. It's kind of like to understand what their need actually is. And it has happened to me a few times where they would come and approach me, and I understand they're really looking for specific detailed tasks. And I would actually tell them, I think for this, you can actually just and get an employee to do that for you. And this is how you do it. Because, so I have done this too, because I want to make sure when I provide a service, they really get the best out of it. Instead of for me to think, okay, hey, I have a contract and whatever you as a client want, I would just do it. Because I don't believe that would be helpful. And it would also, I like to be aligned with my integrity, basically.
As you look to the future,
Yeah.
what do you hope to really be the overall impact with these working with these companies? What do you kind of see there?
From history perspective, my historical engagement with companies, Um, the effect was most of the time corporate wide, and it would reach into um, either reducing waste, basically to streamline everything, um, or to speed up the innovation in an efficient and effective way. And with that, the monetary reward would come along with it. It's kind of like a byproduct. So I don't really focus on particularly on the ROI. The ROI just becomes a byproduct of the core thing. Like, I think of it like a car. Focus on the engine, and then uh, the quality of the engine decides how far and how fast you can go with the car.
Interesting. You're going beyond just the looking at the bottom line, looking at the profit. You're really going underneath and seeing what drives that profit and makes it happen really organically within a company if you're doing all the other things right. Viewers, let's take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. What you're going to see is her website. On the website, you can see all the services she provides. I mean, if you are facing challenges to reach your business goals, definitely reach out today for a consultation. You can also find her right there on LinkedIn as well. Once again, that is One World in Freedom, helping you reach your business goals so that you can achieve success. This is Gary Atencio with CNTV, and if you don't know, now you know.